Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Jungle Room, brought to you by Gung Ho Revolution Film Festival. This is where we read and watch and review and discuss your projects submitted to the Gung Ho Revolution Film Festival. I want to take a few minutes to shout out our sponsors because we are an independent, newly began film festival and our sponsors are our lifeblood. First and foremost, our revolutionary sponsor, our only revolutionary sponsor right now. Shout out to Mob Entertainment. I want to give you guys a look at their video game here, Poppy Playtime.
Terrible things have happened. Where do I even begin? You are perfect. Too perfect to lose. You're in grave danger. She's watching your every move. So you better be careful. Mommy doesn't like guests. A new playmate! It's been so long.
Looks badass. Check it out. Shout out to another one of our sponsors, guys, Bulk Realty. Brandon and Melissa Bulk attended the festival last year, and they were massive supporters of the festival and everything leading up to it. And they were able to contribute a bunch of tickets to attendees of the festival to their ALS charity fundraiser, in which they raised over $13,000 to help fight and research ALS cures and all of the good things that they do with, ALS research. So big shout out to Brandon and Melissa Bulk. Thank you. Rusty's Potato Chips. Now that marijuana's legal, they may have a newfound home in your cupboard and in your heart. Fresh cut, delicious. A new sponsor, guys, that I want to shout out this week is So Create. I want to shout them out for a couple reasons. One, they are early supporters and sponsors and believers in the Gung Ho Revolution Film Festival, which is awesome. So thank you very much for that. I also want to shout them out because they're in our space. They're in our world. They are filmmakers. They are screenwriters. These are people who were tired of the kind of all the screenwriting softwares being the same. And they developed something new, very user-friendly, very immersive. It is truly a revolution in screenwriting. It's something where you can really dig into each of the elements individually. If you want to spend all of your time working on a character, taking those characters out to lunch, all of those things that we as writers do, you can spend all the time in the world with just those characters. If you want to spend time on just a scene, you can spend time on just a scene. And you can do these in different homes within the software, so you don't have, like myself, note cards over here and chalkboard over here. You can do it all within the app. There's a lot to learn with it. It's new and I am still learning myself. So I'm sure that there will be further development as I dig into the software myself because, of course, I am a writer myself. For Gung Ho Revolution participants, you can get a 1-year subscription to So Create Full Access for just $99.99. That's 4.5 months free compared to paying monthly. So big shout out to So Create. And I want to say one more thing about them, guys. They're so responsive about everything. They really care about the community that they're working with. So if customer service and just attention to detail means something to you, So Create is killing it. So thank you, So Create. I'm excited to learn more and So Create. That pun didn't work. So anyway, guys, we're going to get into what the show's about. So tonight we're going to dig into a project called Sheena's Secret, submitted to us by a director called Joseph Vrenick. Anyway, here we go. Let's go ahead and dig in. Okay, so I just finished Sheena's Secret, directed by Joseph Vrenick. Um, Man, nice ending. The ending, the ending was shocking. Um, okay, well, but let's talk about the movie a little bit holistically, using the same criteria that Film Freeway uses for submissions and things like that. So originality and creativity. Um, yeah, it was original and it was creative. It didn't feel like any reinventing of the wheel. It didn't feel like any massive new, um, big thing. But it did kind of combine a few interesting. It blended a few interesting maybe genres together, like superpowers, and then coming of age things and growing, and the teen angst, all that stuff. It blended those all pretty nicely. Um, the direction, that's something that I remember watching, remember thinking during watching this, was there were some moments where there was clear direction in here. Like you could tell, just the way some of the blocking went, the way that some of the characters reacted. Smart, like this director clearly watches movies and has an idea of like what cuts need to look like and what. It was nice. The writing, I feel like the writing was one of the things that made this a lot of fun. There were some kind of quirky moments in it. There was like a lot of sarcasm in it. The story itself, it flowed really nicely. Like it had a really nice pace to it, which is the next thing I think is pacing. But that was really good. Cinematography. That's where this fell apart. It didn't look like there was any consideration of cinematography. Sorry to, I'm not here to hurt people's feelings. I'm just here to keep it real about what we're watching here, because at Kung Ho Revolution Film Festival, we want to be very competitive. We want to encourage growth. We want people to understand that there's a competitive element to getting into the festival. And cinematography, unfortunately, is kind of one of the first things that you see. It's your first real relationship with the project, and the cinematography in this case was awful. It just wasn't good. I don't know what to say. It wasn't good. Performances. There were some fun performances. A lot of lines in this, so I'm pretty impressed with some of the younger actors. This took place in what seemed to be, it was a high school. And some of the younger actors really delivered on their lines. Nothing felt like crazy unnatural. I will say, and this is a later criteria, but the sound really hurt the actors' performances on this, because it was all over the place and jumpy, which is not the actor's fault. But the performances were good. There was nothing like massively stand out, like brilliant performance, but I don't think that that's what this was. This was more of a fun piece, and I think that the performances were what they needed to be. Production value, I think with the lacking cinematography, we can definitely say that the production value was also not good. That wasn't made up for in any way. It's not like they built sets. They used what they had. True independent filmmaking, which is awesome, but it doesn't, the production value was not there. Again, this movie wasn't something that needed like massive sets built. It's not like it took place in like a location that was absolutely like a character in itself. Like it was at a school, and they, it took place at school and at these girls' homes, and that seems to be where it was, at a school and these girls' homes. Pacing was good. Like I thought that was the strength of this project, was it almost felt like one of those like late 80s like kids gonna, I'll give you a perfect example. This isn't necessarily late 80s, but like Dazed and Confused, the way that this kid has a problem, and then like he's looking at the clock and waiting for it to get over. It wasn't quite, it wasn't that good or on that level, but the pacing was really strong, and it worked really nicely for this movie. Structure, the structure was fine. I mean, that felt like a byproduct of the pacing. Like the director and the writer knew what they wanted out of this script. I mean, there was a clear beginning, middle, and end. I think they did a really good job with this. They did a good job setting things up. And overall, good structure. The sound and the music, I really liked what they did with the music. It just wasn't mixed or mastered or whatever the fuck happens when sound works, because this sound was awful. Like it kind of was the defining thing that ruined this project, and it also hurt the actors' performances, because they were doing fine, but it didn't sound like they were doing fine because there was no attention given to the sound or the sound design, which I get it as a filmmaker, that's hard, but guys, come on, step it up, man. Find, Uber three nights in a row and find $500 and have someone sound design this for you or whatever. Like, I know for a fact that there are people who will do this for relatively cheap, and it could not have possibly been worse than this. The sound design in this, the sound itself was the weakest part of the movie, and it hurt the entire movie. Overall, very fun movie, good performances, the writing was good, the direction was good. It just lacked that extra punch of like cinematography, production design, and just an altogether holistic glue that kept it together, which I believe would have been the sound. So cool. Well, Joseph Vrenick, looks like you're a St. Louis guy. I hope this doesn't deter you from, coming to the festival. This is not, by the way, a final decider on if these get in. There's 3 judges, so we all have to go through it. But right now, I'm doing the show here. So anyway, guys, have a looks like this movie has been getting into some other festivals and things like that. So great job to some St. Louis filmmakers here. I would just like to personally see a little bit / a lot more attention to some of that refined detail that separates film from other styles of performance. You need to tighten those things. Like, this isn't freestyle, this isn't theater, it's film, and those film elements, it's not film, it's digital, I know, but like, it's cinema, and those cinematic elements need to be tightened for this thing to work holistically. So, that said, there was clearly effort put into this thing, and I am a firm believer that effort should be first. I know last week there was a movie that looked like there was no effort put into it. So honestly, shame on you if you're coming into filmmaking and you're not putting effort or consideration into your stuff. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening. Welcome again to the Jungle Room, where we're going to do this every week. I'm going to have to pick up the pace here because we got a lot of submissions and we need to watch them all. It's really been a true pleasure. Thank you again to our sponsors, guys. You're truly the lifeblood of this festival as of right now. This is an experiment. This is just us trying to get things together. So thank you very much, and check us out, gung-ho-revolution.com. The Gung Ho Revolution Film Festival is going to be October 13th and 14th at a still to be announced location, but we're pretty getting close to locking that down. So thank you guys for coming. See y'all next time. Peace.